Hello guys, Nardino TV here and we are back again with another video. So guys, for the past days, nakaka-receive ako ng mga questions dun sa ating Facebook page, no? O nga pala guys, so kung hindi pa kayo naka-follow dun sa Facebook page natin guys, please mag-follow kayo dun guys, no? Sumasagot ako ng mga chat dun, no? Tsaka yung mga comments din dun sa mga post natin doon. Active din ako doon guys, no? So for the past days, may mga questions akong nare-receive doon sa Facebook page nga natin about doon sa matagal na processing ng visa dito sa Canada, no? So merong mga nagtatanong sa akin about doon sa submission nila ng PR, sa TFWs, sa work permit, sa student visa. Nakakapagtaka din, no? So bakit tumatagal ang processing ngayon sa visa dito sa Canada? Yan ang pag-uusapan natin today guys. But before that, intro muna. So yun nga, no. So guys, ngayon, share ko sa inyo yung isang nakita ko na isa sa possible reason kung bakit natatagalan yung processing ngayon sa immigration ng Canada. Tignan natin yan, guys.
What will Ottawa's plan to reduce its immigration department by 20% over the next 3 years due to an already backlogged system? Starting just a couple weeks from now, 3,300 jobs will begin to be cut in response to Canada's reduced immigration targets and budget pressures.
3,300
That's the reason given for
ang
the job
mawawalan ng trabaho.
But several advocates and immigration experts have concerns. What does this do to an already backed up system or to those who are waiting to be processed? As of November of last year, Canada had more than 2 million applications in the queue.
Oh guys, yung sa mga nagtatanong, so malamang yung mga questions nyo sa akin kung bakit ang tagal, no? So bakit walang update, whatever. So probably guys, kasama kayo sa backlogs na to, no? So ha-highlight ko lang dito na November 2024, ang backlog po is nasa 1 million plus na, no?
More than 1 million. So half of that was sitting in a backlog situation. So for a closer look, we've brought in Rick Lamana, partner with Fragerman Law Firm and board member at the Canadian Immigration Lawyers Association. Good to have you with us this morning.
Good morning, Emery.
Just to set up what this will do, I want to first of all let people know, how long does it typically take to process applications like a work permit or permit residency? And then what will change once there's less staff?
Oh guys, isa rin sa mga maraming questions sa akin, gaano daw katagal ang processing, no? Well, para po sa akin and based din sa mga nakakausap ko, depende po kasi sa type of visa or application na isasubmit nyo. Pero pakinggan natin guys yung sasabihin ng expert.
So the processing time really depends on where the person is applying from. Typically they can range anywhere from a few weeks to a couple months. Permanent residence can take quite a bit longer, which is
PR mas matagal.
To your question, what this will do is I think it's fair to assume that people need to expect longer processing times across the board. So that's not just sort of people coming in on a work permit. It'll mean people already here looking to extend their status, people who were anticipating, let's say they've been selected to apply for permanent residence and they think, okay, I'll have this status in, let's say 8 to 12 months. That could be close to double depending. So I think elongated processing times will be the result.
Well, and you know, a lot of people in this country, when you're born here, you don't have to go through this process. So it's worth explaining to people that time is of the essence here. It's not just inconvenient that you wait longer. Sometimes it means you have to book a ticket home.
That's right. It affects individuals, it affects businesses, of course, who are anticipating having certain skilled labor on the ground, you know, when they need them. For those who are already here looking to extend their status, it could mean delays of months just to be able to go home and visit family, attend a wedding, go to a funeral. All of these things matter.
Yan guys, no, maraming nakaka-experience na. So ang effect is hindi lang dun sa nag-apply, no, pati din minsan dun sa mga employers or yung sa company na naghihintay guys para dun sa mga na-hire nila, no? Kasi syempre kung may backlog, let's say yung mga temporary foreign workers guys, no, so hindi sila makapagtrabaho hangga't wala silang permit. So paano nga naman sila magtatrabaho? So affected din guys yung mga company na nag-hire sa kanila, no?
On a both individual and business level.
You know, here's what I don't understand. We saw government officials last year come out and say, you know, we apologize. The system is in crisis. A lot of it has to do with job shortages and that we can't get enough people to get this stuff processed. And now they've gone ahead and said they're cutting more people.
Yes. It doesn't make sense talaga, no? So, ang daming backlogs, di ba? So, bakit ka magtatanggal ngayon ng mga tao, di ba? So, nagtatanggal ba sila dahil hindi competent yung mga nandun at papalitan nila ng bago para mas mabilis yung processing? Pero kasi it doesn't make sense, no? The more na meron kang backlog, hindi ba dapat the more na magkaroon ka ng mga workers, di ba? Or probably papalitan yung system para mas ma-improve.
How will these backlogs also affect people like employers or the court system?
So it definitely will have an effect on business.
For sure.
Businesses need to be prepared that things will take longer. So for them, it's sort of having a longer sort of runway. If you know you're going to need, let's say, an individual or group of people, you need to plan ahead. The court system, I think, similarly, we're already starting to see the backlog increase, especially those for asylum claims. The government's assumption was that hundreds of thousands of people with their pathways sort of blocked to permanent residence would just pick up and leave. And I don't think it's going to happen as they anticipate. I think a lot of people are going to do what they can do to try to stay, and that would mean filing for asylum.
Again, guys, yung filing na naman ng asylum, no? Well, doon sa mga legitimate claims, wala namang issue, no? Pero kasi, kung matatandaan nyo, meron na rin mga news about doon sa mga fake asylum cases, no? Yung talagang hindi naman talaga kailangan ng asylum, pero nagpa-file sila dito para makapag-stay. So, nakakadagdag yan sa backlogs, no? Kaya din, Canada is doing a lot of changes right now para dun sa mga processing na mga ganyan. Kasi nga, imbis na mapaprocess yung mga legitimate na process, kailangan pa nilang tignan yung mga claims na katulad nito, no? Na hindi naman talaga for asylum. Diba?
Yes, that is my next question. So without the extra staff, because it is a separate department that deals with asylum claims, how are we going to manage those? As you said, one pathway to citizenship is closed, you claim asylum. How will that affect asylum seekers and the department as a whole?
Ganun ba yun, guys, no? Again, hindi po ako expert, no? So, kapag naka-block yung isang or hindi ka makapag-apply dun sa isang pathway, pwede kang mag-file ng asylum? Ganun ba ibig sabihin nun? So, yung mga expert guys or yung sa mga nakakaalam, you are welcome to comment po, no?
So if you look at the job cuts, what they've done is they've essentially gone back to their staffing levels just before the pandemic. A lot of the hires they made were temporary contract, things of that nature, and that is largely the group, not entirely, but largely the group that's being cut back. And so you're left with about 10,000 employees. So the question really becomes, are they going to shift employees in one area to handle, like you're mentioning, this sort of upcoming backlog.
It makes sense.
What does it do? It is a pie, right? So you take from one, you give to the other, so it remains to be seen, but I think it will definitely impact all levels of immigration processing, both the court system and the regular processing.
Plus, with the changes coming to our immigration laws and what happens to asylum seekers, this again contributes to part of that problem. Really quickly,
of course.
In our national security screenings, foreign interference from last year, one of the things that came up is potential problems in screening during immigration. So with less staff, how is Ottawa ensuring that the immigration process screening is up to date and out?
Ayan, guys. So, of course, kapag less yung tao mo, yung mga matitirang magtatrabaho, possible na ma-overwork sila, no? So, sila yung mag-carry ngayon ng burden. And yung pag-i-screening, guys, hindi birong trabaho yan, no? So, paano ngayon i-handle ng immigration system ng Canada yung proper screening doon sa mga mag-a-apply, no? That is really a good question.
Adequate.
So they're using a lot of AI-based tools to try to facilitate that. I think the issue is, along with less staff, along with longer processing times with less staff, what type of decision making are we going to get, right? It's not just about things are going to take longer.
So, yun yung short na answer, guys, no? Tutulong daw ang technology or ang information technology by using AI, no? So, hindi naman na yan bago. So may mga companies na rin talaga na gumagamit ng AI, no? So, probably yun daw ang tinitignan na isa sa mga solution para makagaan at mapabilis yung processing ng immigration system. Pero again guys, being in the IT sector, yung AI po kasi is marami pang ano yan, marami pang kailangang ayusin, enhancement and everything para talagang makuha natin yung substantial help, no, na pwedeng maitulong sa atin ng AI technology.
When you see curious refusals, will people get through that perhaps shouldn't? There are different departments that handle that from a security standpoint, but I think the point remains that with less people, it's just going to be very difficult to maintain that same service standard.
Yes,
really
yes.
Quickly before you go, what happens to asylum seekers while they're waiting?
They're here. They're here. They're able to work.
Yan.
But essentially, they're in limbo. It's it's a temporary sort of stay until their application is adjudicated. So they're here and they're waiting for their application to be processed. And that could take quite some time, especially with the backlog.
So, yun guys, yun yung nakita natin na news about doon sa pagtanggal ng thousands of immigration jobs dito sa Canada, no. So, possible din na meron na silang plano dyan, no? Kasi for sure hindi naman sila magtatanggal ng significant na number ng mga workers nila kung wala silang plano, no? So siguro hindi pa natin nakukuha yung buong picture, pero ang sabi doon, they are looking to AI, no? So sa tulong ng technology, so probably meron silang nakikitang pwede nang mga tanggalin or redundant na process. Again, it boils down guys doon sa hirap or yung mga problem na na-encounter na mga balak mag-immigrate dito. Kasi significant pa rin yan guys, no, na hindi mo pwedeng palitan ng information technology 100%, no. Kailangan pa rin merong human workers pa rin. Yan. So yan guys, so I hope na medyo nasagot yung sa mga may mga pending or kung kayo ay nag-apply at naghihintay ngayon ng result. Probably guys, isa to sa mga reason kung bakit hanggang ngayon hindi pa kayo nakakatanggap ng update or waiting pa rin kayo doon sa processing ng inyong visa. Sa akin guys, ang maya-advise ko sa inyo, no, yung sa mga mag-a-apply pa lang, make sure double check, triple check nyo yung mga isasubmit nyo. Kasi guys, pag sinubmit nyo yan, knowing na may backlog ngayon, and then pag na-open yung case nyo after few months or more, and then they will realize na may kulang pala dun sa documents, ibabalik na naman sa inyo yan guys, and then you will go through the same process. So bago nyo isubmit, i-check nyo mabuti, right? Kasi nga we have this kind of problem and ayaw nyo na magkaroon pa kayo ng another problem kapag hindi kayo nakapag-submit ng mga tamang documents. Okay? So yun lang guys, thank you again for watching and see you again on my next video. Peace!